Good evening and thanks for clicking on to the Friday edition of Vogan's European Outlook. It is the 1st of August and we have Storm Flores named by the Met Office that will arrive late Sunday into Monday, bringing the potential of damaging winds, 50, 60, even 70 mile per hour winds, especially in exposed coasts and over high ground. But also we have some heavy rainfall to speak about as well. Could we see a few local wind records for the month of August broken? That is a possibility. And some of the sites that recorded their warmest day on record back during the month of July. Could we see wind records for the month of August broken? So quite an interesting summer overall. It's really starting to match up very nicely with the ideas that I had back at the end of May, that we would see these big swings back and forward, seasonably cool, wet and windy days, as well as hot and dry, and we are really kind of starting to see that taking place. Very warm water surrounding the UK and Ireland, Mediterranean, Baltic Sea. That's a concern as we head towards the month of August and through the autumn season. That warm fuel may increase the potential of significant rainfall events. We will talk about Flores in just a second, but I'm going to have, this is going to be a relatively short video today. I'm pushing for time. I'm heading down the road. Going to be spending the weekend down with my dad. So no live stream this upcoming weekend. I know the past 3 Saturdays in a row it's been on a Saturday evening, but there will be no live during the course of Saturday or Sunday. There will incidentally be a tropical outlook tomorrow and then a European outlook on Sunday. So no global weather report at all. That all being said, there may be a small possibility of something interesting come Monday. So stay tuned for that. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already done so. And let's get into it then. Looking at the stats, preliminary stats from the Met Office shows that the UK experienced its 5th warmest July on record. Highest temperature being 35.8 Celsius set back on the 1st of the month. Above average temperatures both by day and by night. I think nighttime temperatures have really pushed the numbers up. Here at Vogan Weather HQ, I've recorded the first month of 16 plus for the average. Warmest day on record, warmest night on record, longest stretch of 20 plus days, 20 degree plus days, which was 13. And also I set a new record for most 20s in a month, which is 20. Also recorded the wettest 24-hour period for the month of July as well. So it really has been quite a month, it has to be said. But obviously my records are fairly short-lived. What's eye-catching about this is actually that Shetland and Orkney had their warmest July on record since records began back in 1884, which is rather interesting. Above all places, the Northern Isles recording their warmest July, which is quite interesting stuff. It was a firmly warmer than average month, as we know, and it was also drier than average overall with the regional variability. We've got many areas actually above average in terms of rainfall, but you can see areas below average here. Going to have a wee bit more of a discussion on this on the Sunday European outlook, and obviously we're going to be honing in on the upcoming storm named by the Met Office as Flores. 60, 70, 80 mile per hour winds during the month of January or February would not be warranting a named storm, especially across the north of the UK. However, it's the time of the year. Schools are off. There's festivals, there's outdoor activities, there's trees that are in full leaf. There are so many factors to take into consideration that having a storm of this strength moving through at the height of summer is what is somewhat problematic, hence why they've got the name on this system. I think this is the 6th and likely final name of the 2024-25 season. I think it goes from September to September, or the beginning of September to the end of August, I think. So, this will be the final name of the storm season for the UK and Ireland. So, like I said, this is going to be relatively brief today, but I hope you can stick around by hitting that subscribe button. Let's have a look at the GFS 500 millibar height anomalies. We've got the trough, we've got the cool air, got the cool start to the month of August across central areas of Europe. But you can see an area of high pressure to the west. You're thinking to yourself, where's Storm Florence coming from? It's actually originating in the southeast United States. Check out the last couple of videos because I've talked about this, about how it's going to lift north, engage with a jet that's strengthening as it exits North America, then sweeping across the Atlantic as a strengthening feature, winds in excess of 160, 170 mile per hour at jet stream level. The feature then moves from and enters the right rear, the right entrance, and crosses over to the cold side of the jet into the left exit. That is an area that enhances lift. We see this little bend in the jet that then creates the bundling of the circulation itself. I've explained that already, so I'm kind of just skirting through this here. The finer details, we'll talk about some of the runs near the time, which is obviously on Sunday and then into Monday. But you can see here the upper level pressure here. We've got this trough over central areas of Europe that gets squeezed somewhat. See the ridge of high pressure then building in across the southern half of the UK. All the while, Florence is a system that rapidly deepens as it crosses from the warm to the cold side of the jet. And as it crosses over the UK, it's likely to peak in intensity. And the concern is that the strongest winds are actually in the tail, the back end of that feature, as it pulls east of Caithness, Aberdeenshire, and Murray. As that feature, the centre, moves eastwards, we could have particularly strong winds on the back end of that system that could generate winds in excess of even 80 miles per hour, believe it or not. But you can see here, this is the pressure chart at 500 come 12Z Monday, as the centre of that system then moves across the northern half of the British Isles here. Then that's very quickly replaced by an area of high pressure. And some of the 850s are showing 15 Celsius. We could, believe it or not, go back to 30 Celsius in the south of the UK. We've not seen that for a week or so. That may happen as we move towards the middle and second half of next week here. Then you can see that we've got this north-south split in conditions, and then the ridge really starts to build in over the UK as we head towards the end of week 1, beginning of week 2 of August here. That has been something that's been highlighted here for some time. Looking at the latest GFS run here, we've got messy conditions across central areas of Europe. Excuse me. Incidentally, tomorrow, by the way, plenty of sunshine and fairly warm temperatures widely into the low, even mid-20s across the south, low 20s across the north. It's going to be a fairly decent early August day, but then things go downhill as we move into later on Saturday into Sunday. We've got one feature run through. This is the frontal system associated with low pressure up to the north, and then we've got this system, Flores, then starting to gather strength, and you notice the pressure change in the centre. 1002, 999, 995, 990, 970, 997, 993, 989, and then you can see here, it's as that feature runs across the far north, Caithness, Sutherland, Orkney, as the centre of that system moves eastwards, northeast, you've got particularly strong winds on this rear flank here. If we put the wind gust chart here on for the GFS model, you can see the wind strength here. Let's go back here. Wind gusts. So you've got 113 kilometers per hour. So it goes from 96 to 113. Notice here, it's as that centre moves from, say, close to Cape Wrath across to Orkney. It's on the southern flank of that system, say, winds blowing down the east side of the Grampians, for example. We could see some particularly strong winds over Aberdeenshire and Tayside, for example. And then the system continues to pull eastwards. And it's not just the northern UK, but it's actually potentially southern Norway, but also Denmark, that may see some very strong winds as well here. You can see here the strong winds in the southern flank now moving into the south of Norway, potentially across the north of Denmark as well. So this will be a windy system across the northern UK, southern portions of Norway, and also across Denmark as well. So I don't want to miss out our friends in Scandinavia. Also, looking at the ECMWF model here, you can see much stronger winds actually associated with this, 141 kilometers per hour. You see the center of the low is further south in the GFS. It's crossing over, say, Inverness, for example. Strongest winds is actually over the South Highlands through the Central Belt, which is interesting. You can see here, it's as the system again pulls eastwards, you're actually seeing the strongest winds on the southwestern flank, 141 kilometers per hour. Let's quickly convert that and see what that strength is in miles per hour. So 141, which would be 87 miles per hour. So yeah, quite interesting to see just how problematic these winds will become. Let me just go back to the chart and let's put on the overview chart to see what it's showing of the ECM model here. So it's got pressure as it pulls east at 984. So skip back here, you can see that the pressure is generally dropping by a few millibars between off the west coast and off the east coast. It crosses over Scotland and the pressure drops from 987 to 984 millibars here. So this is certainly going to be an interesting feature to watch. Like I said, this system then pulls into Scandinavia, bringing the wet and windy conditions across many areas, and then high pressure then replaces that low. This is going to be quite the contrast next week between cool, wet, windy, stormy even, and then by the time we reach, the middle and second half of next week, 2 or 3 days after the stormy weather, we're going to see a sharp uptick in terms of temperature and overall weather conditions. ECMWF not overly enthusiastic at dragging that real warmth north, if you notice here. But look at the GFS, just out of interest, play back a little bit. You can see here the 15 Celsius isotherm reaching the south of England by the time we reach Thursday morning here. That could translate to upper 20s, perhaps an approach of 30. So, yeah, interesting week coming up. I hope you can stick around by hitting the subscribe button. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss any future uploads. I'll be back again tomorrow with the Tropical Outlook, then European Outlook on Sunday, and then we'll wait and see what day the next week brings. Enjoy your weekend, stay safe, and I'll see you next time with more.